Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Greatest Mixtape Podcast. My name is Eric.
And my name is Mac.
And speaking of welcome back, just got back from New York City.
Indeed.
Very, very cool trip. Got to hang out in person for the first time in quite a while.
I think it's been a year.
Has it been that long already?
Yeah, since the last time you guys came up to the Northeast and we got to hang out. So great to see you and your lovely wife, Chris, in New York.
Yeah, you as well, my friend. Got to hang out with the family.
Yeah, we did the goofy touristy thing to keep a 9-year-old daughter amused. So we went to the Hard Rock Cafe in Times Square.
She had a blast, dude.
Dude, she just took my wife's phone and she was running off on missions to find memorabilia to take pictures of. And she'd come back and report back to you and me everything that she found. Yeah.
She did a great job.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Chris and I were talking about it even after you guys left and went back home. I don't think I've ever seen or known a 9-year-old with that much musical knowledge. Dude, it's really impressive. I mean, the fact that she even knows the names of these bands or whatever, but I mean, she knows facts about the artists and their songs. And
Dude,
it was amazing.
She came back to the table at one point. She's like, Dad, Malcolm Young's guitar is over there. I remember you looking at me like, she's 9. She knows who Malcolm Young is? Not just Angus, Malcolm.
Yeah, that's impressive, man. That's impressive. Yeah. You're raising her right, my friend.
You know, that's what kind of inspired us and led us here today, talking music with my daughter. And it's March. It's Women's History Month.
Yeah.
So we wanted to dedicate an episode to the women in music, that have had a massive influence, not only on the industry, but, on our lives.
Yeah, totally.
So knowing that, we are going to be discussing some of our favorite badass women in rock and roll and soul and metal and you name it, just some of our favorites that we want to talk about and highlight today.
Yeah, just popular music in general. I mean, we always say this. I realize every episode we're always like, it was really hard to narrow our list down. Like this is rocket science or something. But it really is, because first you just make a list. You're not even censoring yourself. You're just rattling off and writing down and whatever, artist after artist. And then you've got to, synthesize that down so that we don't talk for 6 hours. We need to pick a few, or in this case, we're bringing 3 each to the table. So it's really hard when you've got a list of 30, 40 artists that you admire and you've got to pick 3. That's really hard because you feel at least I do. I end up feeling guilty, I'm slighting somebody. Any of these women are actually listening to our podcast, they're going to be offended if I don't put them on my list. But I'm that emotionally invested in what we do and what we talk about that. Yeah, it's really hard to cross somebody off the list.
Crossing people off the list is brutal because you're right. Yeah, you feel this personal connection, and somehow I'm letting this person down. Not giving them their proper respect by not including them on the list.
So it is hard. I know we whine a lot, but to pick 3, it wasn't easy. In this particular case, this is what we're going to talk about today.
All right, you want to jump into this?
I absolutely will jump into this. When we first discussed the idea for this episode, one name immediately came to mind, because when you just say badass women in music, there's one name for me anyway that just always immediately comes to mind, and that's Joan Jett.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I love Joan Jett. I've been a fan since the 80s. Always loved her songwriting and just an all-around cool person too. I mentioned last episode when we were talking about Guns N' Roses, and I was just saying how everywhere he goes, Duff McKagan's the coolest guy in the room. Yeah, that's Joan Jett as well. Everywhere she goes, she's the coolest person in the room. She's just awesome. Born in 1958, Joan Marie Larkin, not the best rock star name. So at some point she decided that she was going to be Joan Jett. She got her first guitar at the age of 13, which is a relatively common age to, pick up an instrument. Took a few lessons. That didn't last very long. She said once that the lessons weren't working out for her because her teacher was trying to force folk music on her. Even at 13, man, she had that rebellious, just, rock and roll spirit, man. And she had no time for folk music, man. So she called it quits on the lessons, just taught herself. This is what's so amazing about her story. We could do an entire episode on Joan Jett, and we may one day, because her story is really amazing. I've only got a few minutes today to talk about her, so I'm just going to give you the highlights. But 3 years she's been playing guitar and forms the Runaways. 3 years. She was 16 years old. Wow. Now, of course, at the time, the members of the Runaways had no idea what they had put together, the influence it was going to have. They were just teenage girls that just wanted to rock and show the world that, hey, girls can do this too. In the 70s, there weren't a lot of girl rock groups out there. Toured with Van Halen, the Ramones, Cheap Trick, had made quite the name for themselves. But as often happens with groups like that, especially so young and, shady managers and shady industry people, and they called it quits in 1979. It was at that point that Joan's management pushed her, okay, you're going to go solo. So she recorded an album, put that out in 1980 independently. They re-released it in 1981 as Bad Reputation, but it's actually the same album. If you're fortunate enough to find one of the vinyls, but it's just billed as Joan Jett on the cover too, they're a little bit collectible. After that, she really wanted to put a band back together, and her management was just like, what are you doing? You're the star. And but she just loved that camaraderie of a band. Right. I don't know. Maybe part of it was she just wasn't completely comfortable just being in the spotlight. I don't know. For whatever reason, she really wanted a band. So it became Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. And of course, that's where she just completely took off. So her first major label release came out in 1981. It was the I Love Rock and Roll album, which...
Monster.
I mean, that song alone, even if that was the only hit off of that, I mean, it was huge for her. And still to this day, just such a great tune, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's still undeniable. The second you hear it, you know that riff.
Yeah.
It's still catchy. It doesn't feel old and dated when you hear it. It feels relevant.
And you can't say that about a lot of music from the early 80s, man. A lot of that stuff, you put it on, you're like, oh, God, it sounds dusty and old. That album, no way, dude. I mean, that's timeless rock and roll music, man. You know what I mean? A guitar player, maybe two, bass, drums, vocals. It's the keep it simple, stupid concept. And it's just timeless, man, So that album still stands up today. And of course, throughout the 80s, she had a string of albums. Her next album was actually called Album, came out in 1983. Glorious Results of a Misspent Youth in 1984, so on and so on and so on. All the way up to her most recent album came out in 2023. It's called Mindsets. Everything she's ever put out has just been so good. Bad Reputation, I Love Rock and Roll, Crimson and Clover, the cover of that.
Great. Yep.
Do You Want to Touch Me? I Hate Myself for Loving You, Fake Friends, Everyday People. I could go on and on. She's an absolute beast on stage, too. I've had the good fortune of seeing her live many, many times. Sometimes on purpose, I would go specifically to see her. And other times, she's just been on so many festivals that I've gone to. And, even where I live, there's a lot in the summertime, there's a lot of arts festivals and things like that. And she seems to always turn up on these things, man. So I'm always seeing Joan Jett, which is just awesome. I've probably seen her more than any other artist, to be honest with you. Have you seen her live?
Yes, once. And just blown away by the energy.
Yeah.
Again, it was later in her career too, but she's up there just killing it.
Yeah. The band's
Sounding
always
great.
on point, and her vocal delivery still to this day, she sounds amazing. She's just timeless, man. So like I said earlier, we could do an entire episode on Joan Jett, and maybe we will someday. But I think for now, we can just leave it as saying that Joan Jett is a fucking legend, man.
Yeah.
I love Joan Jett.
Yeah, right here. I'm right with you. I love Joan Jett, man. Can't get enough of her.
Yeah, she's the best.
You triggered a memory when talking about the Runaways.
Uh-huh.
Because obviously Lita Ford was in the Runaways.
I neglected to mention Lita Ford. I meant to throw that in there.
Right? So Lita Ford, another just total badass.
Oh, she rules, man. She was the lead guitar player, for those of you that don't know, in the Runaways, and went on to a successful solo career as well.
Yeah, and if you remember, in the 80s, late 80s, I think, when Lita's track "Kiss Me Deadly" came out.
The song was huge.
Right. That opening lyric, right? Went to a party last Saturday night. I didn't get laid. I got in a fight. We were just, young kids hearing that for the first time, hearing a woman say that.
Right.
We were so confused. We were just like, that's our line.
Right.
But just think what it took for her to come out and say that line and sing it like she did.
Yeah.
So bold about it.
Yeah.
And it intimidated us when we first heard it. Because again, we were young guys, not fully evolved. And you're hearing this for the first time and you're like, oh, can she do that? Can she?
Yeah. Totally confusing to a young Neanderthal mind,
That's right. Lita just blew us away with that one line.
Totally did, man. Oh God. To this day, I love that song.
Yeah. Oh, Close My Eyes Forever with Ozzy.
Oh yeah, with Ozzy.
Great. Yeah, Lita Ford rules.
Yep. I'm glad we got to sneak her into this episode too, because she rules.
Absolutely.
All right. Who's up?
All right. Next up, we are going to honor the Queen of Soul.
Nice.
Aretha Franklin.
Hell yeah.
Born in Memphis, Tennessee in 1942 and then eventually moved to Detroit. As a kid, sang in the church choir, had her first record deal with Columbia at the age of 18. But her career kind of took off a few years after that. 1966, she got signed to Atlantic Records. 67, they released the album I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You. And that's the one. That's the one that launched her into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
That her signature hit, Respect.
Yep.
Now, what's interesting about Respect is that was originally an Otis Redding song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and written from the perspective of a man who wants his woman, quote unquote, to respect him when he comes home.
Right.
You know,
It was a different time then, Mac.
it was a different time. We all love Otis Redding, but it was, yeah. You know, Aretha takes it,
Yeah.
flips it, and it's about, hey, when you come home, you damn well better respect me.
Yeah.
You know, and just totally turn the song around, and it becomes this anthem for women, and it becomes a song now. Like, do people even remember Otis and his version?
Oh, I sincerely doubt it.
Exactly. It's Aretha's song, and it will be forever.
Yeah.
And it just became this monster hit. And like I said, an anthem, you know, show me some goddamn respect. So just the way she took it, flipped it, and made it the biggest song ever. I love that.
Yeah, that's an amazing story, man.
But I mean, just her career just kept rolling from there. Like next album, Lady Soul, released in 1968, Chain of Fools on that album. Oh, right. I mean, just so good.
Yeah.
So good.
That's another
And
amazing song too, man.
You make me feel like a natural woman, right? Now, Eric, come on. We're going to be honest with each other here.
Okay, go.
Have you ever found yourself singing that song?
Dude, I own it. I've told you many times. Not only have I sang that song, I've probably been caught and looked at funny for singing it, but I don't care. I don't care.
Dude, you'll hear it, whether it's in a commercial, in a movie, or a TV show, like it's on, and you find as a man, you find yourself singing along going, oh, wait a minute. What?
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, whatever. I don't care. I'm going to sing it anyways.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna claim that I've always been this evolved and that I've always been comfortable singing songs like that. Because no, there was a time where teenage Eric probably would have been really embarrassed, and my douchebag friends would have lit into me if they'd caught me singing that. Present company included. But no. At this age, man, I don't care, dude. A good song's a good song. I don't care what they're singing. If I'm feeling it, man, I'm singing along.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm right with you.
Totally.
But again, countless more songs throughout the years that everybody knows and loves. Think, Something He Could Feel.
Oh, yeah.
Don't Sleep on Freeway of Love.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or
Aretha, man.
Who's Zooming Who? But actually, let's go back to Think. That song, that was my introduction to Aretha actually as a kid because of that scene in the Blues Brothers.
Exactly. I was going to bring that up, dude. One of the greatest movies of all time.
But babe, this is the Blues Brothers. And she just goes, shit. They still owe you money, fool. But, a great scene, obviously, in a great movie. Growing up, I saw that, and that's what kind of turned me on to Aretha. Was that, and then I kind of learned a little bit more about her. But, shout out to that Blues Brothers movie for getting me into Aretha Franklin.
I remember, too, even at that age, knowing nothing about music or musical performance or anything, I remember going, what that voice, dude. It was just enormous. I mean, she's got some of the greatest pipes ever, dude. Ever.
Right. And that's a movie. I mean, you're competing against John Belushi in the scene.
Right.
And you steal the scene.
Yeah, exactly.
From Belushi. You know what I mean? Like that's impressive.
That's no easy task for sure.
But yeah, man, she went on to win 18 Grammys, Presidential Medal of Freedom. 1987, she became the first female artist inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She sold 75 million records worldwide. Jesus she's incredible. She, unfortunately, passed away in 2018.
Yeah.
But now that's just a voice. That's a legacy. That's an artist that will live forever. Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul.
Absolutely, man. 1,000%. She was the best, dude. And never slowed down either, man. I mean, even in her much later years, she would perform and just still a powerhouse. Like never skipped a beat, man.
Yeah, just an artist till the end.
Yeah, great choice, man. All right, my next artist that we're going to talk about. See, I'd made a joke a few episodes back how I'm going to somehow get Prince into every episode. Mm-hmm. And you'll see where I'm going with that in a second. I'm going to talk about Sheila E. Oh, dude. Percussionist, vocalist. I mean, just all around, amazing musician. And of course, there's a huge obvious Prince tie-in. She had come from a very musical family. Born in 1957 in Oakland, California. Sheila Escovedo. I hope I'm saying saying that right, but came from a very musical family. Her father, Pete Escovedo, was a percussionist. She had some uncles that were in the music industry. Alejandro Escovedo was a singer-songwriter, punk musician mainly. Her uncle Javier Escovedo was another punk artist. Started I think they were from San Diego, but it was the Zeros, another punk band. Mario Escovedo, indie rock guy. He was in the band The Dragons, and Coke Escovedo was in Santana. So I mean, it's in her blood, man. So the fact that she became the badass that she did is no surprise when you look at that lineage, right? And she's also, fun fact.
Oh,
I got to get the sound of him. Fun fact, she is also the biological aunt of Nicole Richie.
Oh, look at that.
Her brother is Nicole Richie's biological father, pre-Lionel Richie adopting her. How about that?
Man, that's a fun fact.
That's a fun fact.
Damn.
At 19, she made her recording debut on a jazz album called Yesterday's Dream by Alphonso Johnson. And then over the next few years, would go on to play with people like Lionel Richie, Diana Ross, George Duke, Marvin Gaye, Herbie Hancock. I mean, in her early to mid 20s, I mean, she was already like established and playing with legit big name players. She actually met Prince at one of her shows in 1977, and in typical Prince style, he, when they met, he was flirting and schmoozing, and because that's what Prince did. But he did say that night, he's like, you're going to be in my band one day. Officially, she wasn't part of the Revolution or anything like that, but she did start working in the studio and writing with Prince around the Purple Rain days. As a matter of fact, she is the female lead vocalist on Erotic City.
Dude, that should have been announced as a fun fact.
2 in a row, man. So yeah, she was in the studio writing and working with Prince when he was recording that. That was recorded during the Purple Rain sessions, but it wasn't on the album. But it was released as a B-side to, I think it was the B-side to Let's Go Crazy, but released as a B-side originally. And that's Sheila E. on vocals in that song. So
that's awesome.
That same year, she ended up releasing her debut album called The Glamorous Life, which gave us the song Glamorous Life. Again, working with Prince, recording with Prince. I'm sure he wrote it because he wrote everything for all of his artists back then. It's just how it was. Her performance on that is unbelievable. I remember seeing that video as a kid, and not only is she singing and just giving this amazing vocal performance, but she's playing the timbales as she's singing, and just killing it. Ended up going on to, she was the opening act on the Purple Rain tour, and then in 1985, her second album was called Romance 1600 came out. That gave us the hit Love Bazaar.
Yes.
And then her third album, Sheila E., came out in 1987, and she stayed in the Prince camp for a while as a percussionist and musical director until 1989, where she just decided she wanted to move on to other things and had left the band after the Japanese leg of the Love Sexy tour. And I actually have in my notes right here, I wrote in my notes, I saw that shit because I saw that tour, dude. It was my first time seeing Prince.
Really?
And 1989, the Love Sexy tour. And I remember watching the performance and just being in awe of everything that was going on. Of course, Prince was killing it, and Sheila E.'s out there. Watching her play now, some of the songs she was out front, like doing the timbales and the percussion, and then other songs she was behind the kit, playing the full drum set. And she did a fucking drum solo, man. And I was inspired and completely ready to go home and sell my drum set all at the same time. She was so fucking good, dude. And just blew me away. Part of me was like I said, inspired. The other part of me was like, I'm never gonna fucking be that good, dude. Just like, why bother?
Yeah, I quit. Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first time seeing Prince, and then first time seeing Sheila E., and was just completely just blown away, man.
Green with envy over here, Eric.
That's a good one. I don't like to brag to, and it's hard to brag to you because we've both seen a lot of the same shows, but B, you've got quite a few that I'm jealous of. As a matter of fact, when you're in New York, you dropped one on me, man. When you saw White Zombie and the Ramones, I was like, God damn it. That's a fucking good one, man. Yeah, so certainly, that wasn't the end of her career. I mean, she went on to perform, and she acts as musical director for a number of artists. She's performed with Gloria Estefan, Phil Collins, Ringo Starr, Beyonce, Cyndi Lauper, Gary Clark Jr., Kelly Clarkson. She's reunited with Prince many times over the years and performed live. And then probably the highlight of her career, she was a band director for the Magic Show, which was Magic Johnson's late night talk show.
Yes. Holy shit, dude. Remember that now.
Yeah. Or the Magic Hour. That's what it was. The Magic Hour.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was a short-lived show. But yeah, man, Sheila E. was his Paul Shaver, man.
Wow.
Can't say enough great things about Sheila E., man. Just an all-around badass.
She's incredible. And even, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, my daughter was watching either American Idol or AGT, one of those two, and Sheila E. was on.
Yeah.
And she was performing with one of the contestants, and they did Glamorous Life.
That's so cool.
And I'm watching her, and I'm like, my daughter's next to me, and I'm like, watch her. And she just put on a clinic. Like, she played Glamorous Life, and then she had a little bit of a solo.
That's cool.
But I'm watching her play, and she's standing up playing, but also she has a kick drum. You know how hard that is?
Yeah, because you're literally standing on one foot.
And I'm watching her do all that, playing and then using the kick drum while she's standing up. And I'm just like, oh my, this was just a couple of weeks ago. She's not slowing down. She was sharp. She sounded great. She was playing like a beast. It was just, she's incredible.
And she was one of the first that I remember that would bounce the stick off the drum and it would go flying up into the air, dude. And she would catch it while she was playing and just showboating while she's playing and not even mad at her for it.
That's awesome, man. What a great pick. Just incredible artist.
She's amazing.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a trip back to the 1970s in New York City.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
We are going to talk about Debbie Harry and Blondie.
Yes.
Born Angela Trimble in Miami, adopted as an infant, raised in New Jersey. Blondie was formed 1974 in New York City with Debbie Harry and guitarist Chris Stein. Just legendary pioneering band,
totally.
The new wave scene of the mid-70s in New York. They had this really eclectic sound, a lot of different music kind of blended into one.
Yeah.
Disco, pop, punk, funk, even early rap and hip-hop, which nobody was doing at the time.
Yeah.
They're playing CBGB, Max's Kansas City, all the places around New York. So the first 2 albums come out, they have these different elements, punk and new wave. They were a little successful overseas, UK, Australia, but not really in America. But then in 78, Parallel Lines is released, and that's what kind of launched them into the American sort of, this band is huge.
Yeah. Got tons of radio play. And
right, so Heart of Glass,
Yep.
Right? I mean, that's my first memory of Blondie is hearing Heart of Glass.
Yeah.
And hearing that voice, Debbie sounded like just nothing I'd ever heard. Now, granted, I was very young, but I just grew up listening to music, and her voice wasn't anything I'd heard before.
Yeah.
It was just so distinct, and Heart of Glass is just so... I don't know. Her voice sounds, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe elegant. I don't know.
I always thought of her as, I use the word kind of dreamy when describing her vocal delivery because it can be very dainty and almost fragile and dreamy, but then she can turn around and just be a powerhouse like in the next second. You know what I mean?
Right.
So she's just, very, very cool vocal style and delivery.
Yeah, and that just kind of launched him into a string of hits from there. One Way or Another, Call Me, Tide is High, Rapture. And that, One Way or Another was actually inspired by the fact that she was being stalked by an ex-boyfriend. And one way or another, I'm going to get you. So she kind of flipped it and just turned it into slightly humorous, making fun of the whole thing. Is maybe just a way to deal with it, but it turned out to be this monster hit that unfortunately was inspired by a stalker. But and then Rapture, again, was just a very, very interesting song choice. The 1980 album, Auto-American. Musically, it's a combination new wave disco and hip hop with a rap verse in the middle. And it turned into the first #1 single in the U.S. to feature rap vocals.
That's so cool.
Debbie Harry. As the story goes, she and Chris Stein, the guitar player, were friends with a lot of hip hop artists in Brooklyn and the Bronx. One such being Fab Five Freddy. And Freddie had taken them to a show, like a rap show back in the day, and they witnessed it, they saw it, they just loved the energy of it, and then they wanted to bring it to Blondie and include it in a song.
So crazy.
So in that verse, in that song, in Rapture, Debbie, name checks Fab Five Freddy.
Absolutely. Yeah. She sure does.
And Grandmaster Flash. That's a big deal when you think about back then, and rap and hip hop just starting to kind of bubble up. But obviously it's in New York, and people in New York know about it. And then you have, a band like Blondie embracing that and kind of sharing it, with the world. And so it's just really interesting that, that song from that band featured that rap verse that was the first #1 single in the U.S. to have a rap.
And think about that too, man. I mean, Blondie puts this verse on their track, and now kids in Wisconsin are hearing rap music for the first time.
Right.
I mean, must have blown their freaking minds. And they had no idea who Grandmaster Flash is or Fab Five Freddy.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was too big of a force to stop anyway, but they certainly had a hand in pushing it to the masses.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you think about the video for that song, too, was interesting. You have your cameo from Fab Five Freddy, of course.
Sure do.
But also, Jean-Michel Basquiat is in that video.
That's right.
And the story goes, he was there, hired to be in the video when Grandmaster Flash didn't show for the shoot.
I never heard that. That's amazing.
But yeah, I mean, inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006, sold 40 million records. You know, Debbie had a successful solo career and an acting career, but her influence with Blondie in those early days, you know, again, in a time in the 70s and 80s, or again, it's a boys club, you know, the music industry. And she comes out with this incredibly unique voice and this incredibly unique band and sound. It's merging all these different styles of music together. So for me, growing up, from the first time I heard it, it changed the way I looked at music and the way I heard different things. And I got introduced to rap and I didn't even know it, you know?
Yeah.
So I just think Debbie Harry to me is, again, we're going to say the word badass probably a million more times.
We should.
I think she's fantastic. I think she has an incredible voice and she's just a great, great artist.
I remember as a kid, you know, I used to buy a lot of 45 records, you know, because they were pretty cheap to buy a song with a B-side. And I still to this day I have it. I have the 45 of The Tide is High. And I just remember being, I don't know, what was that, like 8, 9 years old? I don't know. I was young and just sitting in my room playing that song over and over and over again because it was so different from everything else that I've been hearing at, you know, that point. So when, you know, I heard this song, The Tide is High, and I got the 45 and man, I must have wore the shit out of that thing, man. I've just always loved them and her. Just such a phenomenal band, and she's her voice, just everything about her.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe 2-3 days ago I heard Heart of Glass just driving around, and I just sort of carried away. Like I wasn't even in the car anymore. I just between, you know, that disco beat and her voice, or like you said, dreamy. Like that's the best way to describe her voice.
Yeah, especially when she's singing that sort of softer. It's just very hypnotic. Love Debbie Harry. Great choice, man.
Thanks, bro.
All right, so my last one, I'm going to go a little bit more contemporary. I want to, you know, give some love to some newer artists. I'm going to talk about the Butcher Babies for a few minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Butcher Babies were formed in 2010 in Los Angeles, and the group consists of founding members Heidi Shepard and Carla Harvey, who are the two vocalists, and Henry Fleury, the guitar player. They're the three founding members that are still currently in the band, and they're joined by bassist Ricky Bonazza. You know, over the last, I'm going to say 15 to 20 years, there's been kind of an influx of female artists in heavy metal and hard rock. It's really cool, man, because talk about boys club. You know, just mainstream rock was bad enough. But yeah, you look at like metal and hard rock, man, there was hardly any women on the landscape. And now you've got Arch Enemy, Lacuna Coil, Nightwish, Spirit Box, Ginger, Kitty, Hailstorm, In This Moment. The Butcher Babies have been a big part of that movement. As a matter of fact, the first time I got to see them live, they were opening for In This Moment. It was great. I had heard them, but I hadn't seen them live before. And the energy that they put on stage, man, so good. If you're not familiar with them, their music has been described as groove metal, thrash metal, metalcore, alternative metal. They're one of those bands that has a lot of influences and they go in a lot of different directions, especially if you listen to an album from start to finish. It's a journey. It's not just the same kind of sound churned out over and over again for 10 or 12 tracks. It really, they do have a lot of influences that they wear in their sleeves. So it is kind of hard to say, oh, they're metalcore. Oh, they're thrash. Oh, they're this. You know, they're kind of a mix of all of those things, which gives them a really cool, unique sound. And the fact that they have two vocalists. You know, there are some other metal bands out there that have dual vocalists. They're not the only ones doing it, but the bands that have done it, it's either two guys where one guy does like the screamy parts and then the other guy does like the singy parts. Or like if they're a new metal band, like a Linkin Park, you've got the rap guy and you've got the singer guy, right? The Butcher Babies, as far as I know, they're the only ones out there that have two female vocalists. They're just both hitting you with everything they got, dude. It's like a double barrel shotgun. The two of them just like kicking your ass, dude, especially live. Man, your eyes are just darting back and forth when you're watching them perform because they're both so dynamic. And they're both such badasses. Like being a drummer, I'm usually focused on the drummer. And I couldn't even tell you what the drummer looks like in the Butcher Babies because I'm just so fixated on Heidi and Carla because they're just amazing, not just amazing vocalists, just amazing performers, dude. I mean, they must burn 3,000 calories every show. They're just going fucking bananas, dude. They're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun live.
Yeah, man. I think I've seen them a couple times. I think starting back in the day, like maybe like on a Mayhem festival. Or,
yeah, they've done a couple of those.
But you're right. Usually they're kind of positioned on either side of the stage, and your eyes are just kind of darting back and forth because you don't want to miss anything, and they're just killing it. So much energy. Their voices sound great. They just command the stage. Like, you are going to watch this show and you're going to have your head blown off. They're just incredible.
And the band as well. I mean, I don't want to forget about the band for a minute because they're all really, really good players too.
Yeah.
They're the full package, man. So check out Butcher Babies. They have 4 studio albums at this point. Their debut was 2013's Goliath. 2015, they dropped Take It Like a Man. 17 was Lilith. And then 2023, it's called Eye for an Eye Till the World's Blind. And a couple of EPs as well. In 2012, they had the Butcher Babies EP. And then in 2014, a fun record they put out. It's called Uncovered. And guess what that is?
Covers?
It's covers.
Okay.
But dude, they cover ZZ Top.
Ooh.
So picture the Butcher Babies. They do Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers. They cover Stormtroopers of Death. And then they cover the Osmonds, dude.
Ooh.
They do a fucking Osmonds song. So I'm pretty sure it's on Spotify.
You've given me some homework, man. I have to check this out.
It's really good too, because you're listening to it and you're like, this is a cool song. It's a little out of character for them, but this is a really cool song. You'd have no idea, dude, that's an Osmond song. Unless I didn't know what it was first time I heard it. I was like, oh, this is a cover? Who is this? And I had to go read the liner notes. Like, holy shit, it's the fucking Osmonds. They're a lot of fun. Amazing band, amazing singers, amazing performers. Just, again, man, they're the total package. So do yourself a favor. If you lean towards the heavier stuff, definitely check out the Butcher Babies.
Yeah, man.
Great stuff.
100%. They are incredible.
Yep.
All right. I'm also going to kind of jump up into the present day here.
Nice.
And I want to talk about a guitarist. And her name is Nita Strauss.
Oh, sweet, dude.
Yeah.
Nita's amazing.
So Nita is she's touring, among other things, she's a touring guitarist for Alice Cooper and Demi Lovato. I got introduced to her in 2014. I went to see Motley Crue's final tour, quote unquote.
We're both making the air quotes with our fingers.
Yeah, so apparently I fell for that 10 years ago before everybody else.
And then still went 2 more times.
Yeah.
I have anyway.
But it was Motley Crue's final tour in 2014 with Alice Cooper opening. So of course I'm there with Bob Lubba, right? Our boy.
Oh yeah. Was he air basing? I hope so.
Matter of fact, he was. So of course we go early because we want to see Alice. And during Alice Cooper's set, they got the big giant monitors on either side of the stage, so the people way in the back can see the show. Mm-hmm. And every time there's a guitar solo, Nita is up there on these giant monitors, and you can see her, just shredding.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't know anything about her at that point. I remember leaning over to Bob, and I said, "Oh my God, dude, who the fuck is that?"
That's great.
And I was just fixed on her for the rest of the show, just watching her play, her energy, her style, and just her playing. She was just amazing.
Yeah, she's a beast.
Yeah, so since that day, I've been a fan of Nita. But outside of her, her stuff that she does as a touring guitarist, she released an album last year, 2023, called The Call of the Void. And it features some instrumentals with her music, but also some collaborations with some vocalists like Lizzie Hale, David Draymond from Disturbed, Alice Cooper, Marty Friedman, In Flames.
Wow.
So if you have a chance and you want to just hear somebody just shredding, run to Spotify and check out Nita Strauss. She is incredible. And again, just thinking about more stuff she's done that people maybe don't realize that they've seen her do. She did some work with WWE, actually.
No kidding.
Yeah, in 2018, WrestleMania 34, one of the Superstars entrances, Shinsuke Nakamura, she was out there. He had this really theatrical intro with violins, and it was really cool with a sing-along from the crowd.
Oh, very
But
cool.
Nita was out there on her own at first, kind of just blazing away on the guitar, and then his intro music starts and she plays along with that.
No way.
And she just killed it. It was so great. It's even if you're not into wrestling, check out Nita Strauss WrestleMania 34, and the entrance for Shinsuke Nakamura was incredible.
Dude, now I have homework too, man. I gotta go check that out. That sounds amazing.
But also in 2020, she became the official guitarist for the LA Rams when they moved to SoFi Stadium.
No shit.
So through playing during the games, like national anthem and shit like that.
That's so dope.
So to the point where they won the Super Bowl after the 2021 season, she got a Super Bowl ring.
No shit. That's amazing.
But the other thing that's super cool about Nita Strauss is she's the first female to have a signature Ibanez guitar.
That's dope.
Yeah, dude. She is badass. I don't care how many times we use that word. I'm going to say it again. She is badass. Just an incredible guitar player. So much energy, so much style. So just check out Nita Strauss.
I've seen her numerous times with Alice, and yeah, I've just always been in awe of her performance. And it's crazy too, because like Alice Cooper has 3 guitar players up there.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck needs 3 guitar players? Dude, she owns the stage, man. I don't care. Those other 2 dudes, and they got to know it too. They're great players themselves, don't get me wrong, but when she steps up to the front to do a solo, dude, they can't touch her, dude. She's
right.
awesome.
She steps to the center of the stage.
Yep.
The big light hits her, and it's just her. You know, the hair going 100 different directions. Just she kind of looks a little bit like Zakk Wylde when she's doing a solo. Like just
hair. The hair flying around it. Yeah.
Hair flying, lots of attitude. Yeah, man. She puts on a show, dude.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, man.
I always say it, but we could go on and on and on for hours. But, you know, those are just a few that we thought would be cool to highlight tonight. Some older artists, some newer artists, just a cross-section of amazing women in the music industry for you to go check out.
And I'm coming at this as a dad. So, you know, I got a message for all the dads out there. If you want your kids to love music just as much as you do, we're always pushing our music on our kids. You know, if you're a proud girl dad like me and you want your daughter to embrace the power of music, then you damn well better introduce her to artists that look like her. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't always be about AC/DC and Metallica, as much as we love them. Women kick just as much ass as the men. So introduce them to artists that we talked about just now, and Heart, Stevie Nicks, The Go-Go's, Janis Joplin, Chaka Khan.
Well done.
Florence and the Machine, Salt and Pepper, Brandi Carlile, Chrissie Hynde and the Pretenders, TLC, Dolly Parton.
Hell yeah.
L7, Beyonce, Liz Phair, Lauryn Hill, Billie Eilish, Shirley Manson and Garbage.
Oh, I love Shirley.
Whitney Houston, Bonnie Raitt, MC Lyte, Lady Gaga, Tina Turner, Rihanna, Diana Ross and the Supremes, Amy Winehouse, Pat Benatar, Wendy O. Williams.
Hell yeah.
Patsy Cline, Sheryl Crow, Mary J. Blige, JJ Fad, Missy Elliott, my beloved Anne Murray.
Canadian Songbird.
And yes, Taylor fucking Swift.
Hell yeah.
Do your job, parents.
I'm doing it. I think that's the first straight up applause I've given you, Darren. That was fucking fantastic, dude. Nice job.
All right. That was fun. All right, let's wrap this up with some shout outs.
Let's do it.
Okay, international. We got some new listeners again. We're going to run down some new listeners.
Love it.
How about Denmark and France? More new listeners. Here in the U.S., Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
All right.
I'm going to try to say this correctly. Tappahannock, Virginia.
You said it right as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, Baltimore, Maryland. Imperial Beach, California. Hollywood, California. Post Falls, Idaho. What up, Idaho? Waipahu, Hawaii. And last but not least, Goochland County, Virginia. The Gooch knows what's up.
The Gooch.
Ain't no party like a Goochland party, I'm telling you.
Truer words may never have been spoken, my friend.
Please check us out on the socials. We are on Instagram at The Greatest Mixtape Podcast. Check out our YouTube channel. Send us an email, thegreatestmixtapepodcast@gmail.com. Rate us, review us, subscribe, whatever you can do to help us out. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This is The Greatest Mixtape Podcast. I'm Eric.
And I'm Mac.
And we're out of here. Thanks so much.
Peace.